Welcome back, YouTube. I am Evil Squeegee. This is DMPC, the show where I am both the DM and the PC. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, do all that things that give me the dopamines. I don't know why the dopamines involves me touching my head, my touching my long and luscious hair. Dopamine, yes, dopamine. Anyways, when we last left off, our heroes were just about to get jumped by the cult of Moen in their own in-room because they had sent Maud in for to try and infiltrate the cult, and Maud got busted because the mayor of North Pass, who was the leader of the cult in North Pass, but we busted their chops and stopped that from being a thing. Fled to Pernrith and informed Pernrith's cult that the paladin Octavia and her companion Christina's and her companion Maud had defeated them and stopped them from getting their ritual to pass in North Pass. And so the cult was waiting for us when we got here, and they ambushed us in the middle of the night, and that's where we left off. So we're gonna find out what happens next. Don't touch that dial. Let's get this party started. All right, let's get going here. So the cult comes crashing through the window, like swinging on a rope and shattering the window, and glass just splatters everywhere. And Christina and Octavia throw their hands up in the air to try and like shield their faces from this spray of glass as these cultists climbing through. They come climbing up, and I envision just like a big window, right? And so like this cult is like they've got dudes climbing up from the wall and hoisting their way in. They've got dudes swinging on a rope from a tree outside. They're making all kinds of they're making all kinds of major moves. Um, Thankfully, we've dealt with these cultists before, and so Octavia knows exactly what to do. Octavia busts out the Sunblade, which is a lightsaber, basically, with a blade made of light and a hilt that's made of like brass and gold that she found in the Pernrith mines, and she's gonna put these cultists to the sword. And so she charges in, because if she charges in, she has that special move. She has what's it called? It's called charge. When you lead the charge into combat, those usually take +1 forward. So she charges in, she says, and she swears that she's going to kill these cultists. Because we just took Exterminatus. When you speak aloud your promise to defeat an enemy, I will defeat you, she says as she charges in, triggering both charge and Exterminatus in the same moment. And she closes the distance. And what happens next? It's a hack and slash. It's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good. The cultists are ready for her as she charges in, and she winds up taking, let's see, they do 1d4 damage. I don't have my armor. I do have my shield, so I'm taking -1 from this. 4, of course. Why wouldn't I roll max? 4, so 23 minus 4 minus 3 is 20. Because I do have my shield. I have my shield and my lightsaber, and we are going to town and charging into these cultists. And the cultist docks out of the way of the Sunblade and returns fire with a dagger, and manages to catch me right across the chest. Blood spraying everywhere from a superficial wound. And that's when Christina is also going to charge in. Now, Christina just picked up a move that makes her deal plus 1d4 damage, so she's going to be dealing 1d4 1d10 plus 1d4 damage if she hits. And so she charges into the fray at plus 1 forward. 9 plus 3 total is 10, plus she jumps into the fray, and let's pray she drops one of these cultists. They have 6 hit points. She does not drop a cultist, but she does manage to wound one just as badly as Octavia had been wounded. So she charges in, and she has her ancient looking sword. Oh wait, that's plus 1, 5. Is there anything else for damage? No. No, so she almost drops one. She runs the cultist through and pulls her ancient looking sword out. It's coated in the blood of her enemies now. And that cultist teleports out. How many cultists are we dealing with? I'm going to roll 1d6 and find out. We're dealing with 2. So there was the one that climbed in that attacked Octavia, and the one that swung in through the shattering window that just teleported out. What happens next? Well, whenever you stop and you look to the GM to find out what happens next, let's put our GM hat on. Hold on. Whenever the players look to the GM to find out what happens, the GM gets to make a move, and that move is going to be separate them. So again, this has happened before in the past. Octavia and Christina like to fight back to back. They've got a good thing going on like that. They've got an understanding of strategy because they fight together all the time. And they're supposed to be doing that, but they're not. They weren't ready. There's 2 beds in this inn room where they were ambushed, and they were both sitting on their beds, and so the cultists kind of dropped in between them. And they don't get that benefit of fighting back to back, of strategically with each other right now. And this cultist does this cultist see his buddy teleport out, and does this cultist teleport out? We are chaos rank 7 right now, and I'm going to say it's pretty likely, I think, that this cultist is going to retreat when he sees what happened to his buddy, because his buddy got run through and teleported out to save his own life. So let's find out what happens. And on a 40, yes, this cultist teleports out as well. It is a failed attack on Christina and Octavia, but they do have Maud. Okay, I can take my GM hat off now. The cult has attacked and failed, and Christina and Octavia know that this means bad news for Maud. Maud has been captured again. So we are going to have to find and locate the cult. So we are going to... well, to be fair, Maud is an NPC that matters to Christina, to Octavia, rather. Octavia's best friend. And that is the life of the best friend, is to get captured a lot. It happened to Xander a ton in Buffy, didn't it? And so we are going to need to spend the next day discerning realities, I think. Asking around. The cult knows we're here. There's no reason to hide. There's no reason to lay low and try and avoid the cult noticing us. We have the cult's attention already. It's too late for subtlety. And so blatant hunting of the cult is beginning now. All right, so we're going to discern realities by spending the day investigating, looking for this cult, asking around if any worshippers of Moen are around in town. The GM gets to make a move. Use a monster danger or location move. A monster danger or location move. Well, they've already failed to attack us once. Do they attack us in greater numbers this time? Do they try again? Are they that stubborn? No, I think that the this place is led by a dictator. By an iron grip of a dictator. We had learned in previous episodes. So I think that the people that we are talking to, the commoners that we are asking, are afraid of the cult and the dictator who is insisting that the cult doesn't exist. And so we get a bunch of tight-lipped responses. I don't know what to do from here. aside from, I suppose now, since the adventure has just stalled, this is a mythic GM system thing that we can do. That'll close that scene. The chaos rank will bump all the way up to 8, I think, because we are still not in control of what's going on. Things are wildly spiraling into chaos, which is what the chaos rank is supposed to represent. And I think that it is time for Sinus Interruptus, which is a special rule where you declare the next scene as an interrupt scene automatically. Basically, you're forcing the Mythic GM emulator to make something happen as a random event. And so let's find out what our random event focus is. 78. A PC negative. Something negative happens to a PC. Which PC? Odds, evens, Octavia, Christina. Octavia. So something negative happens to Octavia. What happens to Octavia? This is where we consult the meanings table on the GM emulator. Scrolling. Action 1 and Action 2. So we roll D100. 68 and 75. 68 is praise, and 75 is poverty. Praise, poverty. You know what that makes me think of? That makes me think that that as she and Christina are like walking through town asking about this cult and getting absolutely no feedback. The church is an option. I like that idea, Arendis. I was gonna say that like an urchin comes by and steals from her and bolts off into the darkness, and she has to chase this kid down in a dexterity roll, which she fails, and so this kid absolutely loses her in the back alleys of Pernrith, which means that she is alone with Christina, and a figure approaches, and the kid kind of pops out from behind the figure holding the gem bag. And this figure is wearing like the cultist robes and the cultist hood, but he holds his hands up and he says, "I am not here for violence. I am here to make an exchange." So basically this urchin has stolen my money, some of my money, because I left most of my money in the wagon or in the inn room. He says, "I am here to inform you that we have taken your friend Maud into custody, and if you don't turn yourselves in, we will use him as our next sacrifice." And so we find ourselves not long after having escaped this cult, we find ourselves back in this cult's clutches because Octavia is immediately going to surrender. Christina is going to argue that this is a bad plan and we should hunt them down from the outside, and Octavia will I am not here for violence. Good, I am. Stab. So Octavia is going to immediately surrender and hope that she can have the same luck getting out of trouble that she did last time, which means that we are going to fast forward into yet another dungeon situation. It's almost like the game is called Dungeon World or something. Okay, so we've plotted out our little dungeon, and we are going to make a new 50 cells tall by 50 cells wide. So they put Christina and Octavia in different cells. Obviously, they don't want us to be able to help each other out. But what they're not counting on is us breaking out. Are there guards patrolling this cell? Is that an extreme yes? I'm calling this a 50-50. Is that an extreme yes? It is Chaos Rank 8, 50-50. 17 is extreme yes. So yes, there are several guards patrolling the chamber. They've learned from last time, it would seem, but not well enough, because Christina is literally going to take the gate to her cell and just rip the door right off. She is one seriously badass old lady. That is what she is going to try and do. She's going to fail. She's going to fail, and she's going to injure herself trying, because she is a seriously badass old lady. Well, this is not going as I had envisioned. So she grabs the bars, and she tries, and she tries, and she heaves, and she tries to bend them, and she tries to pull the door off the hinges. And it's just too solidly built. And Christina will suffer a debility on strength because she is strained. And that, I think, as we realize, as Christina and the guards like point and laugh at Christina, and Christina kind of slumps down in her cell, and Octavia realizes that Christina's not going to be able to save her. This plan is not going according to plan. They were supposed to just like happily break out and go on a dungeon romp, but breaking out is probably not going to happen here again. So they've rescued Maud's life, because the deal was if they surrendered, then Maud wouldn't be sacrificed. So Maud is probably in this cell, Christina's probably in this cell, and Octavia's probably in this cell. And they've just been locked away to rot. So, to find out what happens next, you're going to have to stick around for the next episode. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Drop a comment. Do all those things. They give me the dopamines with the long hair, the dopamines. If you're watching on twitch.tv/evilsqueegee, we'll record these live every Saturday, Friday, and Sunday. Not in that order. At 2 p.m. EST. Stick around, and we'll be right back after these messages.